Good evening. Episode 7 of the Fine Time Podcast is brought to you in part by Sony Computer Entertainment Presents PlayStation Home Entertainment System. Sony Computer Entertainment Presents PlayStation Plus and now online. By Dynamic Drive-Thru Danglers in 69 convenient locations, now featuring very fuzzy dice for the Bible Belt. And by contributions made by party people like you. Thank you.
Hello, party people. It's your boy Dre. We're back here on Fine Time. Once again, motherfuckers. Oh man, I didn't even wait 10 seconds before I said the F word. This show is filthy. This show is fucking filthy.
Now I gotta find a new job.
Damn it.
Fuck.
What? You guys can't say that. That's awful. Alright. How's everyone's dick hanging?
Ooh.
I'm sorry, were you not prepared for that question?
Starting with the hard questions
In my
here.
pants, like usual, Andre.
You say that as if I ask like several times a day. Oh boy. Okay. So enough dicking around. Get it. I'm here. Specifically me, I guess, because no one else has played this yet. I was going to be the guinea pig for this game. That game being Ghostwire Tokyo. We were kind of hemming and hawing. Should we get? It's like, you know what? I'm going to try it day one. I'm going to see what's going on. Unfortunately, this came out the same day as Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which we'll talk about later. But so I didn't play as much of this game as I really wanted to, but that's fine because I can give you some good like surface impressions. And then as I beat this game over the next couple of weeks, I'll come back next time and tell you my full thoughts. But here's my sort of, I don't know, I've played like a few hours, like maybe 3 hours. So here's my impression so far. First things first, this game has 6 different graphic settings. 6. I have never seen that in a console game before. It is wild. Like, you know, usually I think I'm pretty savvy about this stuff. I'm switching back and forth between and I'm like, I don't know what to do here. I really don't know what to do here. Thankfully, Digital Foundry had a video where it was like, change your TV to 60 hertz and use the like a performance RT mode, and that's the best you're going to get for now. Because the reason why I was struggling is because none of these modes feel great. Like, there's even 120 frames per second modes, and those do not get there. They hover around 75. I would say they don't even get over 100 just by my naked eye. Like, it is really, really strange, the performance of this game. So that was, I don't want to say it started with a bad impression. At the same time, it was kind of like, well, this is, you know what I mean?
Is there much tangible difference between those modes? Like, is it distinguishable between each one, or does it just kind of turn into a blurry soup?
It turns into a blurry soup most of the time, especially when you try to do 120 frames a second, because they knock it down to, like, not only 1080p, but, like, it also appears really soft. There is, like, a straight-up 4K, like, 30 frames per second ray tracing mode, which I think a lot of people just might use because it's really stable, sort of. It still has like bad frame pacing, so it doesn't feel the greatest to play. Also, the controls are a little sluggish in a weird way. Like, it feels like you take a while to, like, you know how some games take a little momentum to turn, you start turning slow, then you kind of like pick up speed. It feels like it does that, and this game doesn't need to do that, especially in combat. It feels bad. So I don't know. All of this sounds like really bad news, but honestly, it's not, because this game is really cool and different. If you really like visual sort of freak out stuff that's not like, I don't know, Eternal Darkness, or like, I guess another example, maybe like Killer 7, but not that fucking like out there, maybe not as out there as Killer 7, but you know that the games that use like weird imagery and like strange stuff to like not scare you, but make you feel like, ooh, it's like very alluring and strange. Like you'll love Ghostwire Tokyo because it's that kind of game, and I love those kind of games. So I'm actually pretty into this game, despite everything I just said. At its core, it's kind of a open world. I hesitate to say that because it almost feels like, I don't know. No More Heroes is technically an open world game, or Yakuza, right? But do we really think of them that way? I don't think so, right? Would you ever call No More Heroes an open world game? No, right? Again, these are just these. I mean, it is if you want to go by the textbook definition, but really it's not, right? So maybe my feeling on this will change as I play more, and then I see like, oh, this is actually like Far Cry with spoopy stuff. But like, from my first impression, this doesn't feel, it feels kind of, boxed in, even though you can go wherever you want. Um, I mentioned combat earlier, and like I said, it's weird. So you do like attacks with your hands, like energy blasts and stuff like that. You don't have actual weapons, which again is really cool and different. I wish more games would do stuff like this, and that's like really appealing. But like I said, the control thing a little sluggish, the frame rate feeling a little sluggish also. Sometimes it just doesn't feel as fluid or nice as you might want it to. So combat is not that great, but I'm also not sure it matters. Combat fucking sucks in Skyrim or whatever, right? Like that's not really the point of the game sometimes. So like I think the game as I play it will overcome this, but we'll see, I guess. But also so far, maybe I hope this will also get better. The notes laying around, I usually like. I forgot what we were talking about maybe an episode or 2 episodes ago, where I like something where it's like you're doing something in the present and then you're reading notes about the past.
Horizon.
You're finding about the past. Yeah, Horizon's your yes. Yeah. Horizon Forbidden West. Yeah, perfect. This game so far does not do that. It seems like every note that I picked up is like useless. It's just like there's a sale at the mart over here. Come get it. And it's like, okay, that's all it says. I've never found any note in this game so far that actually tells me something cool or interesting. It's all just random fluff. You know what I mean? Even during the side missions that I've done so far, it's not like I find out stuff about the people's lives or something. It's like I find a note and it's like their work schedule or something. It's like, okay, I don't know why I'm reading this. It's fine to have a few things like that, to sort of fill in the world. But if that's all I'm finding, So anyway, it's kind of a strange start to this game, but I'm really looking forward to playing more of it just because, like I said, this is really my type of shit, which is the reason why I gave it a chance on day one. So I guess next time I'll tell you more about it after I've beaten it.
I'm curious to see where it goes because I think my concern before this came out was it looked like it was more style than substance, and I get the impression the more you talk about it that I would feel that way playing it maybe.
Yes. I think you would. And that's why I wouldn't just so far in this early going, I would probably not recommend this game to you, at least not for $60. You know what I mean? Like I would recommend this to maybe some other, you have to be a certain type. Maybe I'm that certain type. I don't think you're that type personally.
Am I that type, Andre?
You might be. You maybe. I think you might be.
You've seen what I've played on our creative endeavors. Is this a game for Steve?
You are definitely more the type than Kevin. I'll put it that way. But I'm still kind of hesitating. Like I said, though, I'll come back to it next time when I have some more impressions. But in the early going, that's how I feel about Ghostwire Tokyo. But Kevin, take it away.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned last episode that I was getting overwhelmed by all of the new flashy shit, so I booted up the GameCube and I started playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, what am I going to say about Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 that hasn't already been said? It's definitely further refined from 1 and 2. And especially the fact that they added the revert to manual from Elliptric is a huge game changer for anybody that's not fully aware of the mechanics of this game. Basically, generally you would string together combos by doing a manual, so just like rolling around on your front or back two wheels of your board. But as soon as you like like stalled on a ramp lip or like did a handstand on it or whatever, your combo would be done in the first two. In this one, you can revert. So when you go back down, you just like flip the direction of your skateboard, and that allows you to go into a manual and continue your combo, which is what the game is all about. So that was a big difference. The soundtrack, like I can never talk about these games without talking about the soundtrack. And honestly, as much as Tony Hawk 2 was the nearest and dearest to my heart growing up, this one probably has the best soundtrack of any of these games, in my opinion. They had like 96 Quite Bitter Beings was on there. The Boy Who Destroyed the World by AFI, Amoeba, Ace of Spades. There was quite a few songs that I think gained quite a bit of notoriety by being on this game. And then, so leading into Pro Skater 4, I started playing that after 3. I think soundtrack wise, they definitely went a little bit more mainstream. It's certainly not bad, but there was kind of like Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden, Express Yourself by NWA, Shimmy by System of a Down, regrettably TNT by AC/DC, which is a terrible band, FYI.
Oh my god.
Just a blanket statement overall. I like the soundtrack is still good in 4, but it seemed like they were trying to go for more of a mainstream feel, whereas I think like I said in some of the earlier games, those songs gained notoriety by being on those soundtracks, which felt like less the case in 4, and it seemed like they were trying to open it up a little bit more to draw people in from what they already knew about the soundtrack. Gameplay wise, Pro Skater 4 was a fairly big departure because it was the end of the 2-minute structure that 1 through 3 always had. So instead of always having 2 minutes to go into these levels and try and mark off your checklist for the like for whatever the goals they wanted you to do are, in this, it's each of the levels is set up where there's different characters that will give you these goals to do one at a time. I don't know if that's necessarily better or worse than that 2-minute structure, but I think looking back on it for the time, it was important that they did do something to at least make it different. And it does feel like it kind of added more substance by moving to that structure. Level design in 4 is incredible. Like I think they really nailed down the flow of these levels and gave you a lot of good lines to be able to make interesting combos. Not that that was ever a problem in the past, but I think as far as level design goes, 4 they really had it down to a science. Overall, these games, I really think these games are just good for the soul. It's been kind of I've had a shitty last few weeks, and like sitting down and just focusing on these games rather than just picking them up and playing them for half an hour really seemed like it was a lot of just fun in the purest sense.
What were you playing these on, like PS2 or something?
I played these both on GameCube.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, it just even the way these games feel, I don't know. I've multiple times I've gone on in the past about how I wish they would do Tony Hawk 3+4 remaster, same as they did 1+2. And while that would be great, these games almost don't need it because they play so well, even by modern standards. If you have the ability to get these systems and copies of the original games, which are not that expensive, that's a great way to play them still, other than the lack of autosave, because the saving on these games fucking sucks, because every time you do something, they're like, okay, do you want to save? Yes or no? Go down. Yes. Okay. Which file do you want to save to? Pick the file you want. Are you sure you want to save? Okay. Yes. Now it's saving. Like it's like a fucking 25-second ordeal. But like, sometimes I'm like, okay, well, I just saved 2 minutes ago. Do I really need to do this again? But then I get paranoid and I don't want to have to redo shit.
So what you're saying is that Microsoft needs to fast track the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remakes.
If they could just put it in HD and add autosave, Perfect. Done.
120 frames a second, surely, like they added to Tony Hawk.
Well, I've only got a 60 hertz TV, so
oh well, okay.
I don't have any of this
over
fancy
here
pants stuff. So,
well, Kevin's already sitting there saying, "Oh, they don't really need remakes because everyone's got a GameCube at home, right? That they could just."
Well, I mean, you can really though, like you can find PS2s for like $20, and you can probably find copies of these games for like $15. So.
I got news for you. I'm not hooking up a PS2 to this fucking TV. I'm telling you right now. That is going to look disgusting.
You guys
I'm not
are
gonna
much
do it.
higher class than I am with your fucking fancy 120 hertz TVs. I get it.
I didn't actually know you did. I didn't know you were still rocking the 60 hertz.
Well, it's a fairly new TV, and it's a 4K one. I just it was on a good sale, and I didn't. In hindsight, I should have probably thought a little bit harder about that decision, but it's fine. I don't want to think about it. It's good. Anyway, speaking of you guys making me feel like shit, after we talked about Kirby last episode, and nobody's ever like come out and explicitly been like, Jesus, Kevin, Kirby's the easiest fucking game, and you can't even finish one of these games. But it's always like in the air whenever it comes up, and I'm like, Kirby, like whatever. I don't care that much. Mm-hmm. So I thought I can at least like sit down and run through one of these games so I can like kind of have a coherent idea of what I'm talking about. I've like fucked around very briefly before, like with NES Kirby's Adventure, the N64 one that I don't even remember the title. Here's how
Crystal
little
Shards.
Here's how little I know about Kirby is. So I started Nightmare in Dreamland on Game Boy Advance. And I'm so clueless, and I'm like, wow, boy, this sure seems a lot like Kirby's Adventure. Like they really didn't evolve a whole lot between NES and Game Boy. Like these are almost like the exact same. So then I wound up Googling it, and so this is basically a remake of Kirby's Adventure. So then I felt like kind of a shit.
I'm just saying, I just remember back when the Game Boy Advance was due, and all these games were relevant. They just kind of slid Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland in there. Not too much coverage until you actually read reviews and said, hey guys, this is a Kirby's Adventure remake. So,
which is why I was not interested, because you guys know how I feel about like that kind of stuff on Game Boy Advance. So I was just like, I'm not doing this. So I've actually never played Nightmare in Dreamland. I was just like, that's a skip.
I liked it a lot.
I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm sorry. Now I would play it. I'm just saying back then that's how I felt, so I did not.
And it's the first time we got to play as Meta Knight, but I'm sure Kevin didn't beat the game twice and 100%.
I did not. Definitely did not beat the game twice.
Then I will never play as Meta Knight because I ain't doing that shit.
You know what? I definitely did like the game. Level design is very basic, but it's based on an NES game. There's certainly not a lot of like interesting mechanics that are level specific. There's the odd time when you get like a wind tunnel or an underwater section, but for the most part, all of these levels are very interchangeable. Again, this is an NES game at heart. The one thing I did have a bit of a problem with is this being a port in the early 2000s. They really could have made the art direction a lot more consistent throughout the levels in each world. And I felt very much like each of these levels could have been interchangeable in any of the worlds. I didn't feel like there was anything to really tie these levels together and make them part of a world other than just levels in whatever order they happen to put them in. And I think that's a much better criticism, because that's where this game could have really shined, being a remake. But yeah, again, that's not the biggest problem, but that's where they could have spent a little bit more time, I thought. Challenging, definitely not. This game's really easy. It was a fine way for me to spend 2 or 3, fairly mindless hours. I guess I liked it enough because right after that, I decided I was going to play Kirby's Dream Land. And this game, this game I finished in one sitting. It's under an hour.
Oh yeah.
But you know what? This game, I actually was...
Kevin, hold on. Tread very carefully. This is the first game I ever finished, so I will not tolerate any slander against this game. I will get in the car and drive all the way to Canada if I hear any bad things coming out of your mouth about this game.
I have nothing... Nothing bad to say about this game. I was actually blown away thinking about this game in the context that it came out in 1992, because I think for especially taking the time into account, it's very polished graphically, and it handles extremely well for a Game Boy game, let alone a relatively early one. Again, it's super easy. And there is no copyability in this one, which made me a little sad because that's the like cool part of Kirby to me.
It's easy to forget that doesn't exist in the original game, but yeah, I mean, he wasn't even pink, right? You look at the box; he's just like a
right,
gray,
he was still white on the box back then.
Yeah,
the color of a dirty sock.
The player's choice version, like airbrushes in a little pink hue on there to like retroactively like. So, like, look, guys, he's pink, remember? But yeah,
yeah.
So that's what I really took away from this. I would have thought that a Game Boy Advance remake of an NES game would have had a stronger sense of identity than an early Game Boy game, but that's definitely not the case. The gameplay is a little bit shallower in Dreamland, but I definitely enjoyed Dreamland a lot more, especially taking into the context when it came out and what system it came out on. So,
well, the madman we know as Masahiro Sakurai, like that was like basically his first major game. What was he, 19, 20 or
that's
something when he made Kirby? Yes. Yeah, I mean, like, the guy basically programmed this, and, like, he didn't have, I remember famously, it's been told, he didn't have any fucking space to make this game. That's why, like, all the, like, animations and stuff are, like, so tight and, like, perfect, because he couldn't waste a single frame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? It has that sort of charm to it, because he had to give it its all and, like, everything. You know, because it's like, okay, Nintendo's like, okay, we'll let you make this, but here's your budget, basically. And it's like, oh, shit, you know? And here's your space budget, because these cartridges cannot be expensive to make, so...
Well, it was definitely successful, because the amount of charm that can come out of essentially a black and white game that's played on a screen that's like, 2.5 by 2.5 inches or whatever, it's mind-blowing that came out of that.
Yeah, and I played that game a zillion times, so I mean, yeah, it definitely has a charm. That could also explain the art direction or the lack thereof of the remake of Dreamland, because Sakurai did not work on that. He was well out of the Kirby game by then. So,
I think the lack of art direction in Nightmare and Dreamland has to do with, oh shit, we made a deal to make an anime. We better have a game come out real soon.
Right. Well, at least I'm not a complete Kirby dummy anymore. So I'm glad. Wear that loud and proud.
Join us next episode when Kevin plays Kirby's Block Ball and Superstar with his friend Steve.
I want to be mean to Superstar, but I'm not. That's a time for another day. Okay, Steve, we've waited long enough. We can do the thing.
We can?
Yes. Take off your shirt. Take off your shirt.
That's a little tough with headphones, Andre, but
okay. Well, where do you want to begin on the you want to begin at the beginning here on what we call Kirby and the Forgotten Land, aka the best game of all time?
I wouldn't call it the best game of all time necessarily.
AKA the best game of all time?
I mean, it has a heck of an opening. I mean, we all played the same thing, right? You boot it up, and we walked around for it. We were told to walk around because that's what games do now. We can't be trusted to just do that shit on our own. And then we ate a car, and we knocked down a bridge.
The bridge to forever.
And then this anime-ass opening starts. It's like and when I say, I think it's more anime than anything the anime ever did.
It is, because the anime's for babies, which is fine, right? But it's not like, this is like, oh, baby. I wasn't expecting that at all. Obviously, this wasn't in the demo, carefully not in the demo. And I wasn't expecting to see this.
And then they start singing the songs the song they've been playing again and again on the trailers. Running.
It's the same thing. It's the same song. Look, that was delightful. Okay, I want to start here because I've famously always dunked on Star Allies, the previous Kirby game for Switch, and rightfully so. That game is thoroughly mediocre. It's not the worst in the world. It's not even the worst Kirby game by any stretch of the imagination. There's a lot worse. But, like, it just did not hit that spot, and I never felt good about that project from the jump. I was like, I don't know. You know, like, especially coming off of Planet Robobot, one of my favorite, might be my favorite 3DS game, easily maybe my favorite Kirby game, I guess, right? So coming off of that, Star Allies was a flop. This now, they've had 4 years. They took it off, it took some time. This is still the Star Allies engine, though, if you ask me. It's the exact same. It's 30 frames a second. It has that same sort of like pace to it, and the menus are like 60. It has like the same exact presentation to me. Same bubbly kind of type of menu. I understand Kirby menus are fairly consistent, but you know what I mean. Like,
they've been doctoring that Return to Dreamland engine for like the past decade.
But I feel like that stopped with Robobot. I feel like Star Allies is actually something different because this feels a lot more akin to that, just moving around in a certain space. Obviously, Star Allies had, you know, as the other ones do, like, you know, 3D characters. It's not like a flat 2D thing. At the same time, converting, if that's the right term, that to 3D doesn't seem like it would be that much of a stretch, right? In my opinion. But this actually earns, where I like heavily criticized Star Allies for being 30 frames a second because I was fucking dumb. Nothing that fixed perspective and up close should like run that way. Even if you're 4 players, even if I don't care if Wispy Woods catches on fire or whatever, like, like that shouldn't really affect that. They were just playing it safe.
Pizza
this
Dinosaur,
game actually,
fuck the trees 2022.
Yeah, fuck them. This actually earns its keep in that regard. Like, so I don't know. I think I guess what I'm trying to say is visually, Kirby in the Forgotten Land is pretty incredible. Like, every animation is like spot on. All the little cutesy. You know what my favorite thing is? You know, like when you're like bomb Kirby, if you throw bombs in the water, the bombs have floaties, like inner tubes around around the bombs, as well as Kirby. He just has an inner tube. Of course, Kirby can't swim because he's a baby. He a bebe.
Except for all the times he did swim, but you know,
he can't swim now. He cannot swim now. In the Forgotten Land, he cannot swim. That was pop star water.
Yeah,
this is post-apocalyptic Earth water.
It's a new horizon. We have to eat our fill, and
it's a horizon, all right. Kirby Forbidden West. This fucking game is. This is frightening. Hey, Steve, you know what my favorite Pixar movie is?
A Bug's Life.
Yes, that was a Pixar movie. I think I've seen that before. And no, man, this like
no, I already know.
I was taught. Well, I know. I'm just saying.
Game's Wall-E as fuck, kids.
That first 20 minutes of Wall-E is like chills me more than any like horror movie on the face of the planet. Kirby and the Forgotten Land didn't quite do that to me, but boy, I tell you what, they're not pulling any punches. You're going through several destroyed buildings, wastelands of desert, you know, a mall, an entire destroyed mall, which is like one of the best, probably my favorite platformer level since New Donk City. This shit's incredible. Can we talk about the mall, please?
The mall's great. The music, I mean, the music's like, you know, oh, hey, we're shopping at the mall, but the mall is wrecked and it's all the animals moved in and they're just shopping and eating shit at the food court and like it's like.
Do you like how they're sitting at the tables having on like munching on 3 cakes and you just go in there and kill them? Like, it doesn't matter. They're not even paying attention to you. You just go in there and just take their food.
They just want their cake and burgers.
Yeah, it's like, well, time to get.
I feel like I must have already played the same game when I played The Last of Us.
Yeah, dude, this is way scarier than The Last of Us.
Look, guys, I know you guys just wanted to eat cake, but there might be a Waddle Dee to find if I kill you guys, so
why don't we talk about that? You got into the sort of exploration collecting aspect of this game, and I didn't, so you talk about it.
As of last night, I found me them Waddle Dees, and you get a bunch for finishing the level, and then you get a bunch. You find them just scattered about the level, but then you you get more for doing little tasks in the levels, some of which they give you little hints for along the way. Like if you start doing a thing, or if you just do it, they just tell you, "Hey, you found this little guy in the corner. Waddle Dee unlocked." But otherwise, if you don't do it, if you haven't figured out a thing, when you finish a level, it'll basically give you the hint on what you need to. It'll give you one of the other hints on what you need to do to go back and find the Waddle Dee. And who doesn't want to save all them little Waddle Dees?
Me?
Except for Kevin, who just murdered all them Waddle Dees in all the other games.
Me, because like as you guys know, the way I dunk on every Rare game, collecting things on a platformer is like one of my least favorite activities in the world. So definitely not me.
I don't know. I just felt bad when I finished a level and I'd get like 9 Waddle Dees in a level, and then it's like, oh, there's still one left.
Okay, this might be the most controversial thing I might say on this show. I would care more if they weren't Waddle Dees, because I don't care, because they're Waddle Dees.
How could
like you? if they were like some other kind of being, maybe. I don't care that much about a Waddle Dee, like a faceless Waddle Dee. I'm sorry, that's just not motivation enough for me to go get them. I know I'm a monster, right? But I can't.
I felt bad for Bandana Waddle Dee too, because I live alone. Well, I don't live alone, but I mean I'm not playing this game with anybody, and he's every time you talk to him, he's reminding you, hey, I could come with you. We could do if we do 2-player co-op. I don't do copy abilities, but I get stronger as we go along, and just have someone come along and hit the 2-player thing, and we'll get started. No? Okay, well, just let me know, and I'll just be waiting back in town.
Any game that's not Amazing Mirror, where they have you have like other stuff, whether it's Superstar, Star Allies, or they have other people with you just doing their own thing, is bad. So, like, I'm glad they didn't make you take Bandana Waddle Dee with you if you were playing by yourself. I'm actually surprised there wasn't a option to let you do that. But if there was, I would have turned it off.
I don't think it would have worked here if no one else was controlling him. It would have been the worst.
Well, it always already is in 2D, so I don't really want. I don't want it to happen. I don't
mind it
either.
I don't mind it sometimes, but if we had to, no, I guess they were usually pretty forgiving. But except for Gooey, but usually it's usually they like, oh, he died. I guess you can bring him back later if you want.
I just in any game where they not make you do that, but where that's an option, it's not good. Like I said, except Amazing Mirror, because you just call them on the phone, they rush in there and fuck up everything, especially a boss. Like if you don't want to fight a boss, just call that phone. They're there anyway. I don't want to say what the second boss is, okay? I'm not going to tell everybody. I'm just going to say I thought it was better than Swole DDD from Star Allies, which was easily the best thing in Star Allies. Ever remember Swole DDD with the huge arms for no reason? Like, it was like, what the hell is going on? This is better than that, I thought. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you talked a little bit about the music, particularly the mall. It has that, like, 70s bent to it that I really like when Nintendo does. Sort of like it reminded me of Super Bell Subway or whatever from like Mario Kart 8. You know what I mean? You get that like 70s ass, like that like Sweet Caroline kind of like 70s pop thing to it. I love that. So I love when Nintendo does that anyway. So that has that to it. Then you see it again later in a manner of which I won't say, but like that's just that just put it on. Like if you weren't already feeling like this is kind of cute but also really creepy because it's post-apocalyptic, where are we, right? Then you get it again later in a sort of other manner. But the music in this game is kind of incredible. The leitmotif in general is a fine one, but any of the other stuff that's not that, I think I enjoy more. I'm not saying I don't like the stuff that uses it. I'm just saying that like the quote unquote originals in that game that stray from that, I think are excellent, and it cuts right through it because like I feel like if this were I don't know. I get really sick of the music in like Mario Sunshine or something if they just always use it. It's fine in a game like Luigi's Mansion where it's a short game or whatever. You don't have time to get tired of it. But in a game like this, I'm glad they broke away from it.
This is obviously the an anniversary game, and they had every opportunity to just, we could just recycle all the old songs, but they didn't. There's a few older renditions. of different things, and those are good. And
I
and
spotted
that's
like one, honestly.
I guess I've been playing a lot more of these, but or maybe I just imagined it. But that's something else I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of fun nods that I can and can't talk about in here. Like I feel like they're just fun nods to Kirby. That they're fun references for us, but they're not so overbearing that they're not coming up to you and say, "Hey, remember when this was in another game? Hey, remember?" Like I could swear to God, like those Gator things I kept trying to eat you are from the HAL pinball game Revenge of the Gator, and there's no way you're going to talk me off of that ledge. Am I the only one who's played Revenge of the Gator?
Yes. I didn't even remember that game existed.
That was like that was the pre Kirby's pinball game on Game Boy.
Even though I was a kid, I was too good to play pinball on Game Boy. Come on now.
Okay, well, even to be fair, even I had to wait till Virtual Console to play that one. But
no, I remember that game existing though. That's kind of funny. We'll see. Like the only other time I've ever noticed something like that is that I think one of the final areas in Dreamland 3 is called Hyperzone. That's about the only time I've ever like seen anything like that, like to a reference to another HAL game. But other than I'm apparently the only one on the face of planet Earth who has played Hyperzone. But whatever.
Yeah, I have not played Hyperzone.
It's unbelievable how obscure that game is. So did you look at a figurine in your collection?
Oh,
to see giant scary Kirby in the background smiling down.
I like
so
how
freaky.
He's eating and killing everything else, but we look at the figurines and
with respect. Just to make a comparison to another game, I would compare this game to Sackboy, A Big Adventure, like the PS5 launch game. It's almost structurally set up that way too, with the way you find secrets, with the way the way the levels progress. Or it's like 3D, but it's also like very constructed. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like this big open adventure. They're almost the same kind of thing. So when you get your PS5, you should definitely, if you like the structure of this game, Sackboy will be up your alley too. I think for sure.
I'll have a look. I guess it might be coming up later, but we'll see.
I guess on that note, I'm glad they kept the game linear. I think when people say like Kirby in 3D, they want this like Mario 3D Mario kind of thing, and that is not what I've ever wanted from Kirby. So I've always been like, I don't want Kirby to be that way. This is what I want.
I think it can work, but I don't think they're ready for that yet. And
I don't want them to ever be ready for that. I hope they never get ready for that.
I do wonder if that conversation just happened from the promos when they were showing this game off, because to be honest, that's what I thought this game was just from looking at the footage until I played the demo. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I just wonder if other people had that expectation set just by the way they cut that together.
Probably. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, I guess so. I don't know, because like, remember like when they first had the first Nintendo Switch teaser, and they showed like 6 seconds of Mario Odyssey, and we got it right away. We saw it. It's like, oh shit, this is not 3D World. You know what I mean? Like that's. I feel like I would have felt that strongly about it if I had initially seen Kirby, because I wasn't sure though. It could go either way, but I did never think that it would be this like big open thing. Personally,
this was Kirby's first time in 3D. We didn't know what to expect. I mean, back on N64, when you think they might have tried that like they do with everything else, Kirby was still a 2D platformer, and I still, as well, I'll save those opinions for another time. But that was the right decision too.
Absolutely. Anyway, this game is fucking fantastic. I loved every second of it. I think it's one of the top 5 best games on Switch. Seriously. Kirby and Forgotten Land was that good to me. I thought this game was a top to bottom excellent. I cannot... And someone asked me actually yesterday, I think on Twitter, like, are you a Kirby guy? Would you recommend this to somebody who loves to play Kirby? I absolutely would, because I am a Kirby guy, but I'm not a Kirby fanboy. There's several Kirby games that I think are like mediocre to outright bad, and there are some that I think people like really overrate. But this is just great to any general someone who likes platformers. You don't have to be a Kirby person to get into this. Some you do, maybe. This is not one. This game is recommendable to anybody and everybody.
What's the runtime here?
It's fairly lengthy, especially for a Kirby game. I'd say you could probably just sort of like regular pace going through the levels. I'd say like a good 8 hours. You know?
I still need to do a handful of completionist-y things to get that 100% because that's fun to me in a Kirby game, not necessarily for every game. But for me, as a Kirby guy, someone was asking Andre about. Yes, this is definitely one of the top Kirby games for me, and this is a guy. You're talking to a guy that would rank something like Superstar and Robobot very highly. So, take that where you will.
If I believed in God, I would think he's testing me right now about Superstar. But you know what? I think we'll just have to move on. Maybe we should take a break before I get in trouble with the public. How about we do that? All right. See you guys in a sec. Okay, we're back. Breaking news, everybody. Breaking news. This will not be breaking news by the time you hear this podcast, but me and Steve, this is relevant to our interest. 3 games have just been added to Nintendo's Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online, and Super Nintendo Entertainment System, Nintendo Switch Online. Those 3 games are Dig Dug 2, Mappy Land, and Earthworm Jim 2. Those 3 are available now.
What?
That's Steve's face right now, guys. I want you to see. I wish you could. Your thoughts, Steve?
Well, Dig Dug 2 and Mappy, those are on Namco Museum, whatever they call them on. So if you didn't buy those
yet... I don't think Dig Dug 2 is there. I don't think so. Is it?
It is. I played it a few months ago.
Okay.
I like it a lot, actually. And
I love Dig Dug 2. I've only played arcade, though, so I don't know. I'm sure the NES version's fine.
And Earthworm Jim 2, controversy about its composer aside, I remember liking the game a long time ago.
Its composer? What about its creator?
The creator, fuck. Yeah.
Controversy abound.
Yeah, you're right. Shit.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'm so used to Amico conversations that it's so easy to forget that an Apple's a piece of shit, too.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Well, look, I mean, I used to love Earthworm Jim 2 a lot. I think it's definitely better than the original. Look, I'll play it. You guys know how I feel. Art from artist, all that. And those are the jams. I think that's probably Tommy Tallarico's best work. Earthworm Jim 2 is fucking every one of those slaps. So, I mean, look, I'll play it. But, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. I'm not going to put it in my finished games list or whatever.
I don't know if I can even touch it.
Oh, I'll play it. Anyway, so that's available now on the apps. So I guess we'll update after we are done here. But
I am surprised just with all of the Tinapple shit that this actually would have made it just because of that reason. I would have thought that maybe would have disqualified it.
I guess not. I mean, I don't think they really think about it that way. I mean, personally, so it's just kind of
for the most part, I don't think they do. But it's not like these were just, it's not like he had a slip of the tongue. You know what I mean?
I know they're doing a new Earthworm Jim cartoon, and he's not involved at all.
I don't know. And I'm fine with that. I agree with the art from artist thing. I'm surprised that I would have thought that would have entered the conversation internally at Nintendo.
It probably did. It probably did. Like, and also, it's now that I'm thinking about it, it's weird that they did 2, right? I mean, look, I like 2 more than the original, so that's fine with me. But Earthworm Jim 2 is not exactly what I thought they would do there if they were going to pick one. But that's cool with me. Anyway, so we got the big ass questions here. So first one is a bit silly, but we gotta talk about it. I don't know if Microsoft or this is a Sega idea or whatever, but they unveiled a Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie Xbox Series S, which is one thing, but then you got these 2 fuzzy controllers, one of them blue, one of them red, Sonic and Knuckles. They have literal fur on them. They are furry. This is disgusting. Am I right? Like, this is awful. This is a terrible idea.
I think these are just contest prizes, but I don't think we can go to the store and buy this. But I'm still curious on how these are supposed to be functioning controllers. Like, how do these work?
I mean, you're going to have to shampoo these at some point.
You know what the value to these is to make a YouTube video where you slather them in mayonnaise and get 400 million views. That's what these are for.
That is so fucking disgusting. Oh, it makes me want to gag. I hate mayo so much. And I hate these controllers so much.
They look more sweaty than I am.
I see. I thought the opposite. I thought if you're playing in your sweaty, these are probably exactly what you wanted because they will wick.
Yeah, but it's like I want to use my beard products on them, and this is just gonna break the controller. Anyway, these are. And when I saw these, I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. All right. Anyway, I just needed to get that out of my system. Next thing I need to get out of my system. Will Smith's form was great, right? Like when he slapped Chris Rock, like it was like a movie. It looked like a movie slap, but it was very like you know what I mean.
The follow through was like very fast.
Yeah, it was very like he practiced that shit on like Men in Black 3 or something. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't leave your head. Like he knew exactly what he was going to do when he got up there. Great form. I hate Will Smith, but great form. Like anyway, so the real question, Steve.
Yeah, not Oscar related at all. Real early on March 22nd, and I'm talking real early at like 2:30 in the morning, like somebody on the Nintendo mobile account needs to go buy a clock because I'm finding this like later on in the day. The Dragalia Lost Twitter account, that's the game that Nintendo and Cygames published together. They announced via Twitter that there'll be one final new summon thing on March 21st, 31st. I guess that's now. And some other quests. Campaign's going to be done in July, the main story, and the game itself is going to shut down at a later date to be determined. Thanks for playing the game and giving us money, blah, blah, blah. What happened here? Cygames is the weeby wifey company. They make all the gotcha shit to just sell shit to weebs. Rolls and things. This should have... What happened?
I mean, I think it did. See, I think it did. Here's the problem, though. So, for just my personal experience with the game first, I really liked playing this for like a couple months. I thought this game was really fun. And then you hit the wall. I wasn't even high enough level to do whatever event was going on. Halloween, maybe, or something. It wouldn't even let me do it because, like, I had been playing every day. I had been like doing story stuff. I've been doing side stuff too. And it's like, how much more do you want me to play? Or I guess, how much more do you want me to pay to be able to do this? You know? And it was so frustrating to me that I just didn't go back. It's like, I can't even participate properly in this stupid event. And I've been playing every fucking day. Like, I don't know. I'm not doing any more than I already have been. Not that I don't think I bought any microtransactions this game. I think I did like the standard like $1.99 starter pack or, you know, like all those games do. You know what I mean? I think I did that. But then like other than that, I don't know, man. But besides that, I think this game was probably really expensive to maintain. You look at the production values of it, it's really high. Like, even for a mobile game anyway. It's definitely higher than, like, what else did they do? Like Grand Blue or, like, their other shit. This was, like, very high budget because Nintendo sort of demands those things, right? And Nintendo was probably bankrolling it too. Nintendo was probably like, look, if we're not going to get the player base to support this, then we can't. And so I guess all I'm trying to say is I don't think the player base was low. I just think it wasn't high enough to offset whatever this cost.
I mean, I've been playing the game like longer than you. I think I finally just gave up around October because the walls were numerous, and even though I can just recharge whenever, I'm like, other games come out on the phone, and how many things am I just going to fling at dragons and things over and over again? I might wrap up the campaign just to say I was there, but I don't see myself going with this too long. But what do we think? Is this going to be the beginning of the end of the Nintendo mobile platform? I mean, there hasn't been a...
It better not, because I'm still waiting for Super Mario Run 2 to come out.
Me too.
Did you like that game too?
I love Super Mario Run.
Super Mario Run is excellent.
Yeah, it's great. I go back and play
for some reason. I thought this was going to be a like Kevin only opinion.
No, I love Super Mario Run.
No, that's the. But yeah, I mean, what I did sink a lot of time and some pretend Google money into over the time is Fire Emblem Heroes. That story's coming to a head, I think. I don't know how. I think Animal Crossing's doing all right, but are we? I don't think it's going down right now. But is this going to be the end of? Are we seeing like a quiet end of the mobile push from Nintendo? I don't know.
I don't think so. No way. It just I don't. They're always going to have something coming down this pipeline. I don't think this is just like a 5-year experiment starting with like Miitomo and then like. Whatever. Miitomo is good, by the way. I will not hear slander about Miitomo.
I miss Miitomo.
Miitomo's good. I don't
care.
Andre.
What did you have for dinner tonight?
I'll tell you when I have it. It just... but I don't know. I think like Pikmin Bloom might kind of be in trouble. Not because it's a bad game. I actually like Pikmin Bloom. There's just absolutely no reason to spend money on it. I can't imagine anyone's buying it. Have you bought anything in Pikmin Bloom? Because I haven't.
I try. Okay, I bought the starter pack, but Pikmin Bloom has the problem where Pokemon Go does, where you run out of space fairly quickly for Pikmin, and I feel like, unlike Pokemon, where I could send them to a bank and use them in the main games, I feel like the point of Pikmin is to get as many Pikmin as I fucking can. Why are you capping me at 300?
I mean. It is weird. I don't even mind the cap. It's just that, like...
That's when I stopped.
I don't know. Collecting Pikmin isn't the point. I like passive games where it's like, this game's like, see how far you walked, or like whatever. But it's just like, there's no reason for me to ever spend money on it. So I just don't know how well this is doing. Also, it's Pikmin. If Dr. Mario World couldn't hack it, like, I don't think Pikmin is going to either. I mean, I hope it does, because I like it. I just not feeling it.
They need to come up with a bit more than have the Pikmin kill these mushrooms again and again. I don't know.
True. But for me, I don't need more than that. I get why you might, and I get why most people might. That's a little too passive. But for me, that's the kind of mobile experience I want. I'm just worried about the future. But like I said, whether you want more from it, like you do, or I don't, where's the cash rolling in? That's where I'm concerned. But yeah, no, it's not the beginning. They'll always have something.
They quietly announced a Zelda game years ago. We haven't seen that.
They did? I don't remember that.
They didn't show anything. They just said like, "Oh yeah, we got Zelda coming."
That's dead. There's no way that's coming out.
I'm like, if that didn't come out last year, I figured that'd be dead too.
That's dead. Anyway. But, hey, anyone else play Dragalia Lost? Because I'd like to know.
Me too. I mean, like I said, I might just wrap up the campaign just to say, yup, that sure was, but...
Okay. So, moving on from that, we finally have our PlayStation Plus tiers. This has been rumored for like 6 weeks now. Those rumors sort of got washed away when they unveiled the best game of all time, Exoprimal, or, whatever, State of Play, I guess. But
I thought the best game of all time was Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
That's the best Switch game of all time. This is the best PS5 game of all time.
You caught him in a lie.
This is the best. I'm sweating like the Phoenix Wright witness on the stand. Jesus Christ. So they finally said what this new PlayStation Plus stuff is. So basically, as we surmised, they're consolidating PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now into one thing. PlayStation Now will cease to exist, and that content will now exist in one of these tiers. So let me go through the tiers real quick, and then we can talk about them. So there's the base tier, the essential tier for $60. That's what we're already doing. 2 games a month on PlayStation, Plus or whatever. It's the same shit. Then there's the extra tier, $100 a year. Did I say $60 a month earlier? I meant $60 a year. That would be, oh my god,
$60 a month. Time for me to go buy an Xbox.
For $100 a month or a year on the extra tier, this is the big one going to be for most people. This adds up to, according to them, up to 400 PS4 and PS5 games available for download. So these are not streaming. You can download and play them. So the PlayStation blog mentioned titles like Death Stranding, God of War, presumably God of War 2018, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Mortal Kombat 11, Returnal. So like we got some good stuff in there, heavy hitters, right? And then there's the premium tier for $120 a year, not a month. This adds up to 340 additional games. These will include the PS3 games that are already presumably on PlayStation Now already. For streaming only, cannot download the PS3 games. Plus download and streaming options for PS1, 2, and PSP games. That's the thing I didn't see coming, is PSP. So all those will be here on the premium tier, the classic stuff. Okay. Let's start with the tiers, actually. I was going to ask something else, but we can ask that in a second. What's appealing to you guys here? You staying where you're at? You're moving up a tier. You're moving up 2 tiers. What are you guys doing, Kevin? Let's start with Kevin.
I really want to see what that second tier has as far as how strong that PS5 library is going to be, because that would be the reason that I would be going up a tier. If the premium tier had like, if I looked and said, okay, there's actually 10 things at launch that I think I would actually play through, maybe I'd think about it. To be honest, I think for me, when I do have a bunch of old shit laying around, I think this is a great service for 99% of people. It's probably not as appealing to me, and I think that's fine. I don't like the idea of streaming PS3 games. I don't know why they do that. I go into Game Pass on my phone every 3 or 4 months. I just wonder how the streaming works. Yeah, it still sucks. It's a real shitty experience. I've got like 300 meg down internet, fairly good internet. I just don't think the infrastructure is there to be able to do that. And I think especially for something as far along as PS3, that's, I don't know. If you want that, it's probably going to be for PS1 and PS2 games.
Yeah, it's PS3. Well, to me, that's like the least desirable like library anyway. So for me, that's like, it doesn't really matter too much. There's very few PS3 games where I would want to fucking play. And like the games I really want, like Tokyo Jungle or whatever, already aren't on PlayStation Now. So it's like, you know what I mean? So hopefully that changes when this service comes along. Steve, what are you eyeballing here?
Well, as we may recall, I am in the market for a PS5, and I do mostly keep a Nintendo ecosystem here. So yesterday I was thinking I'd just get the extra one when the time comes, because I'm already a year and a half behind on PS5 games, and that'd be a good way to catch up without having to search out $60 to $70 whatevers. But I guess I was skimming the thing wrong, because I thought extra was a bit less than $100. But if there's only a $20 difference between extra and premium, I might bite for a $120 premium subscription when it's time for me to update, just to have that back. I mean, I've played a number of PS2 games on my sister's when she insisted on having a karaoke game around. But
SingStar?
Huh?
SingStar?
Whatever one Konami had at the time.
Oh, I don't think that's SingStar. Okay, because SingStar is Konami or Sony.
Whatever Konami had on PS2 at the time, I don't think she even played it that much. But I'd buy cheap PS2 games like Metal Gear 3 and Kingdom Hearts, and I'd play them on. I've played my share of all of older ones, but and other games at people's houses, but it's not like I'm especially familiar with the library. So 120 could appeal to me if I can get a damn console.
So here's my dilemma, and you guys know I'm after the classic stuff. I'm eyeballing the premium tier. If this premium tier is fucking Metal Gear Solid and Final Fantasy VII and Resident Evil 2, I'm not interested. That's the problem. We have no idea what these are. I don't want the basic bitch. I'm not saying that it all has to be Vib Ribbon and like all the obscure shit either. You know what I mean? We need the heavy hitters here too. I just don't want all the stuff you can get with a green stripe that I've played a million times before. You know, I just don't want to do it. So.
I understand that point too, because over the years I've played Metal Gear, I've played Resident Evil. I don't need that shit either.
So we need good shit on this tier that's worthy of me buying it.
I feel like when they're specifying 340 additional games between PS1, PS2, PSP, and PS3, chances are pretty good you're going to get at least some of those deep cuts you're looking for. That seems like a lot of games, 340, yes. Even over 4 platforms.
Yes, you were actually right. I didn't think about it that way, but you're correct. If it said like 100 games, I'd be like, I don't know, right? But 340, that's quite a bit. I just
roughly 80 per platform. Yeah. I sure can't think of like 80 heavy hitter PSP games. I know that.
I just hope that on the extra tier, Sony is smart and lets you really like. I hope it's not like, oh, you want to play Borderlands Handsome Collection for PS4? Sorry, here's Borderlands 2 for PS3 on like the other two. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope it's not really stupid about it and gives you like the best versions of stuff. You know, hopefully. But here's also the thing, and we've talked about this a little bit before, but I personally feel like the press is doing Sony kind of a disservice comparing this so much to Game Pass, and it is not Game Pass. Like Jim Ryan, the president, I think, of Sony America, was quoted as saying, offering new games day one, quote, doesn't make any sense, end quote, to their business model. And he's right. We've talked about that before. But like everyone's saying, oh, how does this stack up to Game Pass? Like even before we came on today, I saw like this chart of like how this stacks up to Game Pass. It's just like, come on, man. That's not what this is.
And that doesn't need to be that because everyone wants a PlayStation right now. The demand is there. They just need to, but they need the servers in place.
I mean, to be fair, we've been talking about rumors about this for like probably 6 to 8 months, at this point. So it was long enough that nobody knew what it was going to be, and there was lots of time to daydream. I agree. I still cannot wrap my head around how Microsoft can take like every big AAA game and put it on Game Pass day one. I don't think that does make a lot of sense. I think that is a good deal for consumers, but there's a lot of room for something like this, especially with the legacy content.
And I'm sure
and keeping the essential, the base price is PlayStation Plus anyways. If you just want to stick with that, nothing's really changing.
No.
I'm sure more games are going to just be added to these services over time. Like, I know God of War Ragnarok isn't going to be day one on the extra plan, but I'm sure it'll be there in like a year later.
Yeah, like Returnal's going to be on here, right? That's by the time this service launches in June, by the way, and I think that's about when Returnal came out. So it's like, or maybe in May or kind of late spring there, and it's going to be about a year old by the time it gets here. That seems about correct. You know what I mean? Like, let's say, like, I don't know, Kevin, let's say Ghostwire Tokyo appears on there about a year from now, right? I'm sure that would be great value, right?
Yeah, like I think even starting seeing Returnal on there, like it's, if they keep kind of at that tier with, if there's another like 3 or 4 things on that level that are on there, then I'd probably bite without a second thought.
Yeah, I just right now, obviously, we don't know enough about what the actual games are, and that'll make our purchases more concrete. I obviously am eyeballing the premium because I like the classic stuff, but we'll see, right? So let's moving on, Kevin.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 7 has been very maliciously review bombed, even though the Premier Video Game Podcast Fine Time gave it a glowing review 2 weeks ago, which I can't understand to begin with. So starting March 18th, the game was offline for almost 48 hours of maintenance. There's been a few other shorter periods where it's been fully offline. So that review bombing was probably primarily about the online or always online requirement. It's currently, as of recording, sitting at 1.7 on Metacritic, so very low. And then the justification for that review bombing has been paired with these feelings that the game is far too transaction heavy. They did, to my understanding, do a patch a couple weeks ago that did reduce some of the credits that you get for some of the races. I think that's a good place to start. I'm curious if you've really had any issues with the microtransactions, because for me so far, if you're coming in here with the expectation that after 30 hours of gameplay you're going to clean up every vehicle in the garage, that's not going to happen. But I've had, at no point in the probably 25 hours, if I had to guess, that I've spent with it, have I ever thought, hey, I'm getting gypped, I'm not getting enough cars, or I don't have enough money for parts or whatever here. It feels like a very fulsome experience as is.
Yeah, I've never once felt that way. Like, you can always, there's always a race to do. There's always a go. Like, okay, yeah. Like sometimes like, okay, I don't have enough money. I need to go run out a couple races here. That's fine. That's part of the game. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not sitting there, oh man, I need to spend the next 5 hours like grinding out this course so I can go buy this like 18 million credit, like, 63 Mustang or whatever the fuck's in the, the legend cars or something. Those are supposed to be high attainable things. No. I don't think the game like intends you to be like, cause I think like 2 million credits is like $20 or something in real money. I don't think they intend you to go spend like $200 on like microtransactions to go get a fake car. Like, I don't know. I know a lot of people playing this game, and I don't know anyone who actually feels that way. So like this review bombing is just insane to me.
And let's put it this way. If you could get all of those super high end cars, does that not kind of take something away from that experience?
Yes. It does for me. So I just kind of feel like the people like complaining about this are just this. I know I'm going to sound like an old man saying this, but this like instant gratification, like sort of generation where it's like, oh, I want everything now. Oh, I can buy, microtransactions, blah, blah. And it's just like, I've never felt compelled to do that. And look, even if the game was like a little stingy with like the credits, and I don't feel like the game is, but let's just say that it is, we live in a world where Street Fighter V has existed for like 6 years. They have sold 14 billion seasons of microtransactions, new characters all the time. They're still doing it. From the beginning, they said, oh, you don't have to buy anything with real money. You can just do it with in-game currency. No, you fucking can't, because the prices on those things are insane, and the things you get in game, the currency you get in game is so fucking piddly. Everyone just buys a DLC anyway because it'll literally take hundreds of hours to get a character. So that's probably the most predatory game we have going that's popular. And people just accept it because people play fighting games out there. They just accept anything. Like King of Fighters 15 just came out. I love King of Fighters. I can't do it. I'm not paying $85 for like a fighting game, and then they're going to do like other seasons on top of it down the line. I'm not paying that much money. So like when it comes to talking like, unfair microtransactions, there are much, much, much bigger fish to fry than Gran Turismo 7, which I don't even think is unfair. So I don't know. To me, this is just, I don't know if hypocritical is the right word. I just hate that this is happening. It's stupid.
So let's move into the online or always online requirement, because I think we've probably got a little bit of different thoughts on that. I think, from what we've talked about off the show, I think you're almost entirely okay with the always online requirement for this, hey?
Yeah. I mean, look, would I rather it not be? Sure. I mean, obviously, there are sometimes when our internet goes out and it sucks to not play something like that relatively is not interacting with other people that's online. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm not saying like I love that it's this way. I'm just saying I don't mind that much because look, I mean, it's a PS5. Now, if this were like a Switch game that is like a racing game where it's always online, that would suck, right? You're moving around, you don't always have a stable connection. This is a PS5, man. When are you not connected to the internet? Except when you're not, right? Which I guess has happened to you a few times. It's never happened to me, but
yeah, and that's not even the biggest problem. I definitely have had a few hiccups where all of a sudden, I, for whatever reason, I lose connectivity, and then everything is just completely shut down. I do really wish that they would add like a 10-minute grace period where if your internet, has a hiccup, that they say, okay, if you're not reconnected within 10 minutes, we're not going to let you play the game anymore. That would be a lot better. But overall, even, we talk about, okay, there's a date it's down for maintenance. There's 2 days it's down for maintenance. I get that that's shitty, especially when it's a new game. But like, again, we've had much worse examples of this happening before. I brought up on Twitter the other day, did anybody try playing fucking Diablo 2 Resurrected when it first came out? Like, try playing that game whatsoever in the first 3 or 4 weeks that it was out. Like, oh my god. The thing that I have a little bit more of an issue with here, is just in the long run, what's going to happen when eventually these servers go down, because I don't like the idea that at some point this game is going to be 100% unplayable. Just bringing up, we talked a few years ago about Sony patching out the CMOS battery issue on PS4, because essentially once that battery died, you wouldn't be able to use your PS4 anymore, and they did patch that out. I hope that they do something similar here. It's still not perfect because there is a situation where somebody goes out, buys a PS5, doesn't have access to that patch, and the game still doesn't work. But like, when we're in the age of like everything's on the internet already anyways, just messy shit like that is going to happen. So I do hope that they address that down the line when they just say, okay, this is legacy software at this point, so if you're not online, now it's fine.
I think that could be a thing. There's no reason why it can't be. I kind of feel like when these like live service games kind of go kaput, whether it's like Destiny or Division or anything, these games I put hundreds of hours to over the last generation, I feel like that'll be very easy to do. Okay, the Destiny servers are gone, but you can still play Destiny because like you can play that game by yourself easily, or the Division. There's no reason why it has to be online. It's only to interact with other people, right? So because like even if you're doing solo missions in Destiny, you're playing them online. So you can always take that stuff offline. You can always divorce it if you want to.
And worst case scenario, there's always going to be a community that can likely find their way around that. Like you can still hook up a fucking original Xbox to the internet and play Halo 2 if you want to go through the, certain channels. So,
I know if anybody who really still play Phantasy Star Online on original Xbox and stuff, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
So it can be done, and I'm sure somebody will figure out their way around it. So if you really, really, really want to play Gran Turismo 7 in 2045, there's probably going to be a way to do it.
Yeah.
Just real quick before we move on from this too, it really seemed to me like the bigger gaming outlets were like really like justifying this review bombing, and to me I think it was like outright pandering. I'm curious what you guys think about that, and also like how is that going to play with their relationship with Sony, because of course like definitely there's some people at Sony with their hair on fire right now, and I don't think they're going to be real happy with the Kotakus of the world as far as how this has been covered.
Well, Kotaku is garbage, so they don't count.
Is that it? I was waiting for you.
No, I have another joke for later, but
go for it. You got the stage.
No, it's not related to this per se, but no, Kotaku's trash. Who cares what they think?
Okay. it's weird, right? Because this got glowing reviews from all the press, right? And now they're like, oh, this is bad. I don't know. I feel like they're kind of playing both sides of it because they can, you know what I mean? So it's weird. I don't know if pandering's the right word, but I get what you're saying. Like it is strange, but it's also not surprising behavior whatsoever. So, it's just going to have to be one of those things, I guess.
It's journalism in very big quotes.
Yeah.
I do agree that Kotaku is shitty, but I think outside of that, like, it was almost universal. The IGNs and the GameSpots, everybody seemed to be really like, well, yeah, it's kind of bullshit that it's always online. Like, it seemed like it was a little bit over glamorized.
I think so as well. Okay, so real quick, we did CD Projekt Red formally announced Witcher 4 because of course that's in development, right? But here was the interesting part, and it's the reason why I want to talk about it. I'll quote this directly from their website. This is an exciting moment as we're moving from Red Engine to Unreal Engine 5, beginning a multi-year strategic partnership with Epic Games. It covers not only licensing, but technical development of Unreal Engine 5, as well as potential future versions of Unreal Engine where relevant. We'll closely collaborate with Epic Games developers with the primary goal being to help tailor the engine for open world experiences. End quote. That's fucking cool. So, like, maybe I'm just still high off the Matrix demo from like a few months ago, but like, I think that's super exciting. They're actually like helping develop the engine. They're probably, as far as pushing visuals, they're one of the best at it. Like, that's great. What do you guys think of that, I guess? Because I just thought that was a fantastic thing to hear, whether you care about The Witcher or not.
Yeah, I think this is super good as well. I don't think it matters what they do. CD Projekt Red is in for a real uphill battle as far as marketing anything goes. Moving on, I don't know enough about it, but from what I understand, I think that company kind of got a little bit too big for their britches, a little bit too fast, and trying to use an in-house engine while developing a very large scope game probably caused them a lot of problems. So if they can take something that's as going to be as universally supported as Unreal Engine 5, I think that's going to put them a lot further ahead in being able to put out more of a clean product on a more solid timeline next time.
Yeah, for sure. I haven't even played The Witcher 3. I'm waiting for the PS5 version. I don't know when that's going to happen because of all this cyberpunk stuff, right? But like, hopefully sooner rather than later, I'd like to play that game. Anyway, so Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC happened. Last week now, maybe? And like, I guess, okay, well, let's just start. What do we think? You guys played all the tracks. I was at work. I couldn't play with you guys, but you guys played them together, and I'm sure by yourself too. What you got? I mean, like, I love that the Ninja place. That shit's
Ninja
great.
Hideaway's awesome.
Yeah,
That's excellent, right? The Tokyo one they took from Tour, I think that's really fun. You have a third lap where you go on the freeway and stuff. That's great. I think these tracks are great, guys.
I agree.
I'm having fun.
That was not help me at all. Okay. That was.
Well, I feel like I've gone on too many tangents, so I'm trying to clip it down a little bit.
I think what Andre wants to talk about is everyone's bitching about, oh, it doesn't look as good as the main game. Why are they charging $25 for all these courses?
I think you just said it, didn't you? $25. $25. 48 tracks, $25. Now,
or included with the expansion pass.
I'm not saying that it's great that it doesn't have the same visual integrity as like the other tracks. It looks a little strange. I'm not going to lie. I noticed it right away, even when they showed him off, right? It's not great that Sky Garden is like really cut down in that way. But again, I set my expectations low because the price was low. I set my expectations at the price. Personally,
I don't even know that I think that that's fair to say. Like, you're right that maybe they don't have that same fidelity as some of the other tracks, but at the same time, you think about some of the like remade Super Nintendo Mario Kart tracks in the past. Like it seems it looks like more of an art direction thing to me than it does like a lack of fidelity. I don't know. I have absolutely no problem, and I don't even playing through all 8 of those new tracks. I'm not like picking one out above the other at all.
I don't know, man. I just think that, like, I don't know. Mushroom Ridge, right? That's Shroom Ridge, excuse me. That's the one I was looking forward to the most, because that song is bumping. I love the new version, by the way. Jesus Christ. I was looking forward to that, and they did not disappoint on the music front. That's definitely up to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe spec, right? The tracks themselves, maybe not, but tell me what other thing. Look, they could have actually sold this as another game, right? Like, here's Mario Kart Classic, just like they're doing with, like, you know what, Super Mario Party, like Superstars or whatever that is, right? Here's like a bunch of classic games as a new game for cheap, and if they had sold that for $40, I wouldn't have been like upset about that. Here's a whole game, right? But this is like, you're getting it within this game that everybody has, practically everybody fucking has, for $25. I just don't see what there is to complain about, personally.
For something they're trying to sell on the expansion pack with, I'm having fun. And really, I'm never really the graphics person. I'm either playing online or I'm playing split screen with my sister or something. I'm not looking at the side and like, I think I can count the polygons on that mushroom just off the side of the course over there. I better go on the internet and complain.
Do you like I don't know if this is in the original Wii game, but I noticed this billboard when you go around the street part of Coconut Mall. There's like a sign that has like, it says like big mushrooms or something, and it's like plus size clothing. It's like 2X to 8X or something. It's like big mushroom guys or something like that, or I don't know what it says, but like, it's really great.
I don't know if anything can ever live up to the signs that say the burning DK though.
Oh, I love those. Those are great. Wouldn't that make a great shirt? I can't believe no one on Etsy has like copied that or something. That'd be excellent, man. I love the burning DK. I don't know. I know we all felt the same way about this. It's just that, no, I noticed, Steve. I did notice. Trust me. Like, I haven't played online since these went live, but like, I'm sure once I get into some random lobby and we play like, Sky Garden versus like, Cloud Top Cruise or something, it's very noticeable. Like, it's undeniable, but that it's fine. I notice it, but it's fine. That's all I'm saying.
We're getting a lot more courses too, and the value. Think of the value, guys.
Yes, that's exactly why
we just had a whole other segment where we're getting ripped off for Street Fighter V, and we're getting 48 courses for nothing.
All right, Steve. It's time to talk about the thing.
So, after Sony's like, we're putting out a tiered system for our subscription plan, they stuck up, Nintendo sticks up poor Zelda director Eiji Aonuma in front of the bad news black screen. The sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game, it's still what they're calling it, by the way, has been delayed to spring of 2023. So, I saw this coming.
I wasn't sure. I didn't think so, honestly. I thought it was gonna. If we were gonna bet on it on our game, I would have bet it would have came out this year. I thought it was gonna have a big blowout at E3. So
I think it's gonna get something at E3, but after I saw things like Xenoblade 3 coming out in September and new Pokemon's coming out in November, that might get a little crowded for something like for Zelda to hang around.
There's always room for Zelda, man. There's always room, though.
Oh, I agree, but I just feel like that might have been a bit much.
I don't want to like go too far down the well with this. I think when we talk specifically about Xenoblade 3 and new Pokemon, those two games serve fairly specific audiences, so I don't know. I think for probably your average Switch consumer might not be interested in either of those.
Yeah.
So I think there's just still an open spot for something big Christmas time game.
Yeah, I agree. And then when we still may get that, because we don't know then the next direct will spill those beans, right? That could be anything. But yeah, I guess the real speculation is like, is this a new system, right? Because that seems like a very specific time. We're going to delay this a whole year from the time we're talking about right now. Does that mean they're putting it on? I mean, like, I feel like the answer to this is no, just because we hear about Nintendo's like new Nintendo systems, whether they want us to or not, well before they come out, and a year is not enough time. So, like, I feel like we would have already heard about this. Yeah, people. I mean, look, a Switch Pro rumor pops up on Twitter every week. You know what I mean? That's not what I'm talking about. But like real concrete shit, we knew everything about the NX like before they unveiled it, right? So,
I mean, the reason I'm only thinking this might be the case is because this is what they did with Breath of the Wild. Once we thought the release date was coming around, they said, "Okay, we're delaying this for another year. Please put up with Star Fox Zero and Paper Mario Color Splash until then, but it's going to be good, guys. We swear."
Yeah, but by that time they already were like speaking. It's coming out next year in 2017 for Wii U and NX.
Yes, that is the difference.
So we don't have that this time. But I think they had to do that in the Wii U era to be like, okay, we're making something else. We promise. Just, you know what I mean? Like,
we're not going to hurt you again.
Yeah, we promise. We're making something else. You
guys are going to love it.
I don't think we're far enough out of the chip shortage issue at this point. I think that we get like a nice Switch OLED with Triforce Joy-Cons or something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, another thing I was a bit curious about was fairly early on in the Switch life cycle, they made a very bizarre unofficial promise, obviously not binding like anything, almost like back when Capcom was doing the Big Five on GameCube and all that. Like, we're going to have a new Zelda game. We're going to have new Zelda content on the Switch every year. And they followed through on that pretty good, but does this end the streak, or do you think we might see some GameCube Wii U GameCube ports, or what?
I want the viewers in their headphones to know that I saw Kevin's face visibly twitch when when Steve said GameCube. Like he had a reaction.
Yeah, I'm so tired of hearing the port begging for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess on Switch. And you know what? If they decide to go ahead and do this, great, because I'm sure it's going to sell quite a few copies. It's just like, anybody over 14 years old has had the chance to play these fucking games on the last 3 generations of Nintendo systems before the Switch. Like, if they skip one generation, it's fine. Hold your horses. I read about it 3 separate fucking times on Twitter today.
Okay. Like, I understand this, but regardless of your feelings, do you think do you think there is any sort of stopgap Zelda project coming this year to make sure Zelda is still in the public consciousness? Or do you think we're going to be without Zelda other than Majora's Mask coming out on Nintendo 64, Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack earlier this year?
You know what I think would make a lot more sense is to take that style of the Link's Awakening remake and do the Oracle games like that on one cartridge.
Oh my god.
I'd like that a lot. God. Do you think they have it ready?
That would be excellent.
I would love to think that Grezzo's been working on this whole time, but
I'm whispering right now because I'm so turned on by what he just
said. Wouldn't that be so much more exciting than fucking Wind Waker and Twilight Princess for the 4th goddamn generation?
Yes. Holy shit, yes. You have no idea.
Okay, you better stop. I'm getting aroused. No more whispering.
The Oracle of Ages is in my top 3 Zelda games. So, like, I like Seasons too, but Ages in particular is, oh God, yes. I don't know why I've never allowed myself to think about that before, but Jesus Christ, yes, please.
You're not going to get an honest answer on me because I'm biased. I just want all Zelda. Aside from CDI, I'm the guy that's still holding out hope that maybe Tinkle's Rosy Peck Rupee Land makes it to America someday.
I don't know. I'm biased too because I'm just not personally interested in playing Twilight Princess or Wind Waker again at this very moment. I'm not saying I never want to again in the future. Then again, you're also talking to the guy who's never replayed Link to the Past, right? So, like, I don't know. Like, but the Oracle games, yes. Please, God, yes. Now that's all I'm going to think about the rest of the show. Holy shit. Wow.
And this is where I bring up that interview with Inti Creates where they're like, yeah, we'd love to remake Zelda 2.
All right, I gotta take off my pants. Let's take a break. I gotta take a shower. Be right back. All right, I've cooled off, maybe, sort of. Was it good for you?
Andre's a very selfish lover, according to pillows that we're talking.
According to mypillow.com. Okay. Kevin conceived a little segment here where we're just basically going to embarrass ourselves. It's called "Fuck, I Was Wrong." The thing we're wrong, look, we don't always get it right. We always hold some adamant opinion about something, and then we come later in life, and it's like, oh, shit, I was very wrong about that. Whoopsie.
And we're responsible and we're transparent, so we want to admit it to the public.
Yes, and we're all going to admit something we were wrong about. But first you, Kevin, because you were wrong.
All right, I'll kick this off. So on our previous creative endeavor, when we were... when we were talking about the next gen systems, and I remember talking about, like, this seems like the smallest step between generations that we've probably ever seen. And to be honest, to some degree, I still maintain that. But specifically, we kept talking about the SSDs, and I said, yeah, you know what, the SSDs are great. That's going to be a nice quality of life improvement. I really don't think that even really deserves to be in the conversation about, whether that's a valid point for being in a new generation. And so I know you guys at the time brought up, well, hey, look at that demo for Ratchet and Clank, and they're jumping between all these worlds, and it can load super fast. You couldn't have done that on the last generation. And I said, yeah, that's fine. But I don't think that's going to be, like, implemented in games all the time, and it's not. But the SSDs now, I will say 100% really add to this generation of consoles deserving to be a new generation. Not only does it change the way I play games when I think about when I played Miles Morales or I'm playing Horizon, using fast travel. On previous consoles, I probably would have normally chosen to walk somewhere for 5 minutes rather than fast travel that would take 1 minute of loading, just because that 1 minute is shitty. So now I'm definitely more likely to use fast travel. It just functionally changes the way I play the game. But not only that, I am much more likely to sit down and actually turn the system on, whereas maybe I wouldn't have if I have 15 minutes before I got to go to work. I'm much more likely to turn the PS5 on, because you can turn that on and you can be playing a game, like, honestly, 30 seconds after you boot it up from being completely off. And while that, before I would have said, yeah, that's a nice quality of life thing, I'm definitely playing games more just because of that, or, in circumstances where I wouldn't. So I think it's fantastic, and I was wrong. They are a big deal.
Yeah. I think, like, just even we were talking about Gran Turismo 7, loading a race in a second, 2 seconds versus You've probably seen the Digital Foundry video of how long it takes on PS4. It's incredible. Yeah. Imagine doing license tests where you had to wait that long for every track. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. I was talking about, we're going to get into spoilers later of Xenoblade Future Connected, but I was talking to you off air about how fucking long it takes to load every cutscene in the events viewer to refresh myself. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? I'm so spoiled now by the PS5. Like, it's just like, I knew from the beginning. I was trying to convince you. I'm glad you came around, just because, like, I guess sometimes, like, seeing is believing, right? Because it's just like, I knew from the beginning, like, this is going to be a big deal. So
I think when I first got an inkling of that is because when you were playing Miles Morales, you were talking about, like, they had these cutscenes where you would have to watch them on PS4, but people just wouldn't even know they were there on PS5, and you had to, like, consciously decide to watch them, and maybe that started triggering it. But yeah, once I started using it, you were right.
Yeah, because you have to, like, turn them on in the options to see them now. But yeah, like, think about, like, stuff like tooltips or whatever being a thing of the past. Like, basically, like, overall,
right. Like, and now going back to a last gen console to play something is pretty excruciating once you're used to it.
Yeah. I'll say the thing I was wrong about. So I didn't talk about this in Now Playing, but over the last couple of weeks, I've been finishing up Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. I've been playing this on iPad because that's the ultimate way to play any Ace Attorney game now. Like, Jesus Christ, like, art is so nice and big, and it's, I mean, like, because the reason why I didn't, even while I had a 3DS, I didn't get into playing Phoenix Wright 5 and 6 is, like, I'm not spending 30 hours over this. I'm not doing it anymore, right? Like, we have much better screens. We have much better. I'm not, those games are also on iPad, or I guess other things too, but that's just what I have. And it's just the ultimate way to play them. Anyway, so I went back and played Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. This is a game I did not like when it came out. This is a game I didn't even beat when it came out because it was so... The premise of it offended me to my core. It was like, if anyone doesn't know, it takes place some years after the third Phoenix Wright game. Phoenix Wright is no longer a lawyer. He's a fucking hobo who wears, like, a beanie and is, like, aloof as hell and weird. And I hated it. I hated it. I hated that lowering of stature. It's like, I'm not even saying that it wasn't even Apollo's fault. I like Apollo just fine. It was, like, the premise of it. It's like, if you're going to make Phoenix right into this, don't fucking have him. Like, just get this out of here. I don't need this. Like, this is not what I wanted. Just have a new lawyer in a new setting in a new place in a new town. You don't have to have, like, hobo Phoenix Wright hovering around me the whole time. And, like, that I really hated. And, like, just, I have this, like, weird little girl as an assistant. I just thought it was like, well, this is, like, not even discount Maya. It's just like, I don't even like, it was the wrong time. Maybe it was just 2008 and I was just not in the mood for this kind of thing. It was a weird year for me in general, maybe, especially with playing video games, of which I hardly did that year for various reasons. Like, I don't know. Wrong game, wrong premise, wrong time, I guess. So I thought, look, if I'm going to play the two Phoenix Wright games I haven't played, 5 and 6, on iPad, I'm going to start with Apollo Justice. I'm going to play them all. I'm going to give this game another chance. Boy, I'm glad I did, because goddamn, I was wrong. Like, this game is really good. Now, I still am not the biggest fan of the way the Phoenix Wright character plays out, right? But even despite that, you got some good Phoenix Wright in there. You got some good courtroom drama. It's all there. The heart's there. I just wasn't, I don't know. I didn't see it before, I guess. I don't know if Steve will find this controversial. I think this game is better than Trials and Tribulations. I'll say that much. Like, Trials and Tribulations ends strong, but I think getting there I think Apollo's better than that, personally.
I think Apollo's a stronger story overall, I'd say that.
Yeah. So, and I like Trials and Tribulations too, I'm just saying that, like, when it comes to, but I sure as hell didn't feel that way at the time. So yeah, I was completely wrong. Apollo Justice, I'm sorry. You are a really good Phoenix Wright game.
Okay, now I would imagine we're not too worried about spoilers for a 2008 game. In my mind, Phoenix Wright eventually, comes out of being a hobo and makes a grand comeback. Does that happen? Or
I just started playing the fifth one, and yes, that happens. So
okay,
because he is the star again of the other ones. So of sorts, I guess. I guess we'll see how as it plays out.
I'm not saying a word.
I mean, you did without saying a word. You did. Anyway, your punishment now will be to tell us what you were wrong about. Now you put yourself in front of the court and tell us how wrong you were.
Sure, let's keep this Capcom train rolling. The year is 2010, and there's this game called Monster Hunter 3 being promoted big time on Wii. They're giving out demo discs, and I take one home because, yeah, sure, why not? And I don't really get it. I'm running around, I'm bopping monsters in the face, and there's a big raptor thing that I'm not really killing too good. You know what, this just isn't for me. But then later on, I'm going on to games. You know what, I'm just not going to be into Monster Hunter. I don't get why Japan thinks this is hot shit. I don't care what all these magazines say. Enough's enough. I'm not getting into this. Later on, I go into GameStop, and I guess they have this huge push to get shit out of there because in order to get me to sell, okay, we're going to take $10 off the price. We're going to give you a Wii Shop card. It's going to be the version with the Pro Controller bend. You want a Pro Controller, don't you? It's got the fun little grips at the end. Okay, fine, but I mean, I'm mostly just getting this so I can have the things and the blah, blah, blah. I try all this again just so I can say I did my due diligence with Monster Hunter 3. And, you know, I'm not sure who I was proving myself to. That's not like I was doing the Fine Time podcast in 2010. Could you imagine?
Oh, God. I'm so glad I wasn't on the air then. I would have been real embarrassing.
I didn't even have a beard then. How embarrassing that would have been.
A baby beard then for me.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I was cool as fuck in 2010.
Oh, yeah, you were.
Sure you were.
If you ever deign to release those pictures to the public.
We've seen what you look like in 2010, Kevin.
I'm going to tell the people this one, though. There was one where he straight up looks like a male prostitute. Just exactly.
Oh, yeah.
He is totally a male prostitute. Anyway.
Maybe that one will make Twitter. We'll see.
Yeah.
So the time finally comes, and Monster Hunter 3 is and all the stuff they gave me to buy Monster Hunter 3 with is in my hands, and I finally popped the disc in because it's still a few months away before all the other stuff that comes out in 2010 was coming out. Remember that fairly packed 2010 where we had Kirby and Kirby's Epic Yarn and Epic Mickey and Donkey Kong Country and all that other...
And Epic.
Yeah, all that epic shit where they just packed all of 2010 and they're like, oh shit, we have nothing for 2011. You know what I did for most of 2011? Freaking Monster Hunter, because once I actually found what the real play cycle was and not what the demo was showing me, they had me in forever. Monster Hunter 3 Deluxe on Wii U and 3DS, 4 Generations Plus on Switch. I'm doing Rise right now. They got me. Monster Hunter Amiibo over there. Me waiting online to have posters signed by artists at Comic-Con. I'm in. They got me.
He's here, everybody. All right. I'm glad we could all admit we're wrong. We need to do this more often. I like bringing it to the people, saying, "Hey, you know what? You may think we're perfect, but we're not. You definitely think we're perfect, right, audience? Don't answer that at all. Do not tweet us and tell us that we are not perfect. We cannot handle that kind of criticism.
We need to be humbled."
Yes. Okay. You know what? I have a music thing. So, okay. I'm kind of mostly directing this at Kevin. I need you to help me with this. So, there was a song in very late 98, early 99, it hit the charts. It was a one-hit wonder. It's called You Get What You Give. by the New Radicals. You know this song?
Yep. I heard this song within the last week. Yeah.
Okay. Kevin, I hate this song. It does my least favorite thing in music, and it gets extremely preachy to me. I fucking can't stand that shit. It is my least favorite thing. It's telling you, it's trying to be so meaningful while making a pop song in the late 90s. Like, shut up. Like, you think you're so hot shit. You're talking about, like, Courtney Love and Marilyn Manson and whatever it says in the last verse. And it's like, who do you think you are? You suck. I don't need. Anytime a song or any artist like gets that way to me, where it feels like they're above above it, you lost me. Like, get away. And you know what? You know what the name of their album was too? I don't know if you remember. Their name of their album was "Maybe You've Been Brainwashed Too." Fuck you. How about that? How about I don't buy your fucking record? How about suck my ass? You know what? Come on, think, man. I hate that fucking attitude.
I've never thought that way about that song specifically, and to be honest, I probably have never listened to it close enough to like try to get something out of it. That song comes up when I say, hey, Spotify played a 90s alternative rock playlist. Mm-hmm. But I can fully understand the idea behind it, because I think I feel very similar about, honest to God, my most hated song of all time, "Have a Nice Day" by Bon Jovi. And it's, I hate the music, I hate the singing, I really don't like Bon Jovi to begin with, but that song in specific, like, I just, for one, like, I think just like "Have a nice day," like, it just sounds so fucking cheesy and stupid to begin with, and then I'm already mad about it, and then I'm like fuck you. Like, if you want to tell me to have a nice day in a good song, that's fine, but don't tell me to have a nice day when I'm listening to like this shit song. So maybe a little bit different concept, but
no, that's fine. I love how much you hate "Have a Nice Day."
Oh, I really hate that song.
Another one of my big examples for me about like the sanctimonious like preachiness of stuff is that, the band Foster the People. I don't know if you know, they're like an indie band. Okay. They put their second record, I forget when it came out, 2014 maybe. It was called Supermodel. And they got like really like self-serious on it, instead of being like, look, I'm not saying everything's a party and I party all the time or whatever, but you can get a little more serious, but don't fucking preach to me. The first song on that record is called "Are You What You Want to Be?" ? I don't know, Foster the People. God, how about leave me alone? I don't know. Are you what you want to be, Foster the People? Jesus Christ. Like, sorry. I don't know if I'm what I want to be, and I don't fucking care. How about you worry about yourself?
That's not like judgmental. I don't think it's just
judgmental.
It's just like a rhetorical question that's worth asking to anybody.
Your first track on your first. Okay, well here's why it's not. I'll tell you why it's not. This album is like, the album cover is like this very artistically drawn like thing of this like lady like vomiting these words. And it's like a poem. It's like the words actually spell a poem. It's like how she consumed like all the dumb stuff in the world, like celebrity news and whatever, and then like it's all in this poem, like all in these words. So it kind of sets you up for failure, right? So then when you start the record with "Are You What You Want to Be?" it's like, well, God damn, Foster the People. Sorry. Look, I'm not saying all look, they've always had a dark undercurrent, right? Like Pumped Up Kicks is like a really dark song in this like this like pop shell, right? It's about a kid shooting up a school. I love that.
I had no idea.
Yeah, dude. You didn't even just the chorus too. It's like, what does it say? You better outrun my bullet or something. What is it?
Right.
All the other kids
you
with
better
the pumped up kicks.
Run for cover.
Yeah. I love that in pop music though. That's a great trick. So they kind of hit the ground running with that. Like, there's a little dark undercurrent sometimes, but it's like this sort of sunny thing. This felt just like not just preachy, adolescently preachy. Like, don't fucking shut up, Foster the People. I'm older than you. Like, don't I don't need you to tell me that.
It does seem in that context like they were on a bit of a high horse.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Anyway, that's all. I just wanted to go off about preachy music for a bit. I don't have any overarching thing about that, but that is just something I cannot stand. When you put yourself up there, but you're like fucking nobody. Like, there was a one last example of this. There was a rap group in the early 90s, Arrested Development. I don't know if you've even heard of them. They had some big hits in the early 90s, and then they disappeared like real fast. They were hot for like a year and a half, 2 years, and they were gone. Mostly because that music is real preachy. That's a whole other discussion of which that'll involve like many varied topics I don't have time to get into right now. But I think that's the reason why they disappeared. I can't really say it right now. That's a topic for me and Evan on a music pod or something. But like that shit's like, you know.
Just while we're talking about preachy music, so when I was thinking about the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 soundtrack, there's a song on there called "If You Must," and I'm trying to remember who the artist is. He was on Clint Eastwood by Gorillaz. He was one of the singers on there, but the whole song is like, wash your ass, brush your teeth, like all this stuff. So I know, like, don't tell me what to do.
It's like,
if I want to sit here and play Tony Hawk with a greasy ass, I think that's fine.
Yeah, isn't that kind of the point of it? I mean, come on, you're listening to like, doesn't those soundtracks have like Mighty Mighty Boss tones and shit? They have greasy asses for sure. Like,
definitely pro skaters, they got greasy asses.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
anyway.
Preachy.
Anyway, so Kevin, you have our next bit.
Yes. So I want to know if you guys have any house rules for games. So something that's not, brought up or enforced by the game, but where you say, whether I'm playing this or somebody is at my house and we're playing this is a rule that I've made up that we're designating is being in play. So I want to hear your guys' first, and then I'm gonna top off at the end.
Okay, Steve, do you have one, or do you want me to go first?
Oh, when we were kids, we had the basic bitch monopoly rule of free parking money, wherein money that wasn't necessarily going to a person went in the middle, and if you landed on free parking, you collected the money.
Absolutely.
This made the game last forever. One day when me, Mr. Game, looked at the rules and like, that's not really in the thing. We should, maybe play this the other way, when we got older. Steve won a lot more games of Monopoly, and then no one ever wanted to play Monopoly with Steve anymore. And that's my house rule story, pretty much.
Oh man, I know you're serious when you go third person, so I really appreciate the Monopoly. We always played that way too, but did you put the 500? Did you start off with the $500 bill?
No.
Yeah, see, that's how we did it. So it really lasted forever because we're all fucking rich. Anyway, and I insisted on this because I'm going to tell you guys right now, if I'm not banker, I'm not playing Monopoly. I'm going to be banker. I'm telling you this.
Good. I don't like the work. You do it.
Okay, good. Thank you. I'm just letting you guys know. I'm banker. So I guess this isn't a hard and fast rule, and it's not something we've ever talked about, but it's something we've done for, I can't tell you how many years now. Me and Vin, when we play games, a fight, anything where you pick characters, a fighting game, Windjammers, Overwatch, it doesn't matter. Anything where you pick characters, we just don't spam. No character spam. Meaning like, I don't want to play your fucking Chun-Li 17 times in a row because that's your best character. I don't care. Stop. I'm like, look, you can do whatever you want, but as soon as I get on my like sixth Chun-Li, I'm sick of playing Street Fighter. Like, you know what I mean? So like, let's mix it up. We do a lot of random. We do a lot of, and in Overwatch, we play so many different characters. There's only a few characters each of us are not that good with or we don't like, so we really mix it up there. When we play Windjammers, we don't like straight up random, but we do, you know what I mean? We mix it up too. Yeah, we have our favorite characters. I do a lot of Gary Scott, or I do a lot of whatever, but it's just like, at some point, I don't want to play like Loris Biaggi 7 times in a row, right? So like, otherwise I'm going to be done playing. So that's something we've never actually said to each other, like strictly, but it's just something we both do when we play games. That's a good rule. Yeah, we just don't character spam.
When melee was a big thing, I always used Link and did the like jump spin attack, and then that was pretty good. If somebody didn't know how to like counter that, like you could just fuck somebody up repeatedly. Yeah. So like people would play melee with me like 2 rounds, and they'd be like, I don't want to play this anymore.
It's pretty asshole-ish if you don't know what to do. Yeah.
All right, so here's my rule, and now this rule applies to different people in different ways. So Super Mario Brothers 3, when you fight any of the Koopalings and then the wand comes down from the sky, you cannot let the wand touch the fucking floor. You gotta catch the wand.
Yes.
Now, if this is, if I'm like playing this with my son, if he and I'll tell him like, Matthew, fucking don't let that wand hit the floor. This is really important. I'm not gonna penalize him if he does, but I am gonna maliciously berate him. If you guys were at my house and you let the wand hit the floor, then we would turn the game off right then. I'm not kidding. So when I was in high school, I used to play like Mario 3 with with some of my friends, and like anytime
Canadian Protective Services on.
No, this is very good childhood.
No, I think this is important life lessons for him. Yep. Yeah, I'd play with my friends in high school, and like sometimes people would let the wand hit the floor, and everybody's just like, "Oh shit!" Like, so to this day, and like I never let the wand hit the floor because I fucking know this is important. You don't want to be giving the transformed king a chipped ass wand. So
I am quite superstitious, as you guys know. I'm into sports, so as you can imagine, that plays into that too. I think hitting the floor is bad luck. I do not like. I feel very bad juju when it hits the floor, so I do not like to. Ever since I was a kid, I do not let it hit the floor. I don't.
It just comes natural, like everybody should know. Like, and it even like makes the sound where you're like, oh,
yeah, I don't want to do it. Yeah, it's weird. I don't like it. Okay, so at this point, me and Steve are going to talk about Xenoblade Future Connected, the side story in Xenoblade Definitive Edition for Switch. If you have not played Xenoblade Future Connected and you do not want to hear this discussion, see you later next time on Fine Time. Get out now. For those of you continuing with us, we will begin talking about Future Connected now. Final warning.
Hey, Andre.
Yes?
So, Xenoblade 3 is coming out in September, right?
I mean, supposedly.
So I kind of figured it'd be a good idea for me to move my keister a bit and finish those last few chapters of Xenoblade Definitive Edition, which I did finish previously on Wii, and do that side story they promoted because I feel like that'd be good to do before we're in a new spot, right? Be caught up. I know you did it much earlier than me, but I thought it was fairly interesting this is actually Melia's story, not Shulk's, even though we just spent the whole last part of the game, doing all of that. Do we want to talk about that for a second? How Xenoblade 1 ends, sir?
He attacked and dethroned God in the best fashion possible. Like, of course. So what else is there to say about Shulk, right? I mean, he did the thing. Anything else would just be anticlimactic, right?
So yeah, they very much try to make this Melia's story, however, which is good because there's a number of unresolved plot lines with how that was going with her in the main game. I thought even back in Wii, I kind of felt like they kind of just ended with, but I kind of like Shulk, but she's right, but he likes Fiora. We can never be, and they kind of just leave it there.
I don't even remember that. That's how like super minor that must have been, because I don't even remember that happening. So
it is very fleeting because then dick's on, boys, because there's that reveal. But I keep saying Melia, Shulk, and two Nopon that were Ricky's kids, because as we all like to bring up, Ricky fucks.
Oh, Ricky fucks. He fucks more than literally 10 times more than anybody in that game. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I just don't talk to Xenoblade people enough or whatever, but like I didn't really guess that Melia would be the one to be like the like focus on her, and like if there was going to be an after years story. That was kind of surprising, I guess. But if I think about it now, it's really not, because her whole thing is like the central point of the story, right? Like if there can be a central point in Xenoblade, because there's so fucking much. Like the High Intia are the center point, if there ever was one.
Well, yeah, we did spend most of that game focused around the Homs or human class, but I guess everything on Bionis because mostly reflects on the Hyentia trying to keep things under control, and
right.
Alchemoth's wrecked by the end of the game. It's gone.
Yeah, but yes. And so, like, I was just thinking, like, if they just wanted to do the quote-unquote popular characters, of which I don't know who they are, but I don't think, I mean, I'm just going to guess it's not Melia.
No, I mean, and they were very brave of just making it Shulk and Melia, because they could have just as easily, and, excuse me, they put the other two Nopon in, which are obviously stand-ins for Ryan and Charla, with their attack sets. And this ends up being a story for Melia to build herself up as a character to prove that she really is worthy of being empress, even though her kingdom's gone. You have the faction of soldiers that abandoned the other refugees. There's an obvious bad guy among them. You know he's a bad guy because he's wearing dark black and an all dark black and purple ensemble. Like, oh gee, golly whiz, are you the bad guy? Other than this fog king that's occupying the kingdom, there's no way you're going to turn on us at all.
I know they only had like 8 hours or whatever to tell this to us, but they didn't have to make it that like that was so obvious. Like, even to my dumbass who doesn't ever see anything coming in a JRPG, I could smell that one a mile away. Also, like, really, like, totally infuriating anime bullshit how they just like didn't kill him to begin with, so they could just like, oh, I have your little brother here, and then it takes a Telethia to bitch slap him halfway across the the island so he can get away. Like, come on, man.
I know it's been a while since you played, but they don't even make killing him part of the main game. They put that into a side quest. Did you do that?
I don't remember.
It's you end up having to do a side quest for a string of side quests for these kids, like, help us find shit. Okay, help us find more shit. Can you bring more letters to these people? I'm like, okay, I need the experience points anyway. We'll do this. Okay, we got another letter, and it's from Captain McBadguy, and you have to beat the shit out of him, and he supposedly commits suicide at the end of it, but, you know, what does that really mean when you're a demigod being already that lives forever in Xenoblade? We've already established in Xenoblade you fall off a cliff, you come back to life in 5 seconds anyway. So
it doesn't matter. Well, Fiora got smashed by a Macan. I mean, it doesn't matter. Nothing in this game matters. If you want to be alive, you can be alive in Xenoblade. That's what they should say. Like, you know, Xenoblade, population 2 max. If you want to be alive, you can be alive.
Xenoblade 3 is coming out, and they did have Sterner Melia in that, and I guess that's...
Hold on. Are we sure that's who that was? Because I rewatched it. Because you said, I peeked at your notes, and I saw you say that. So I went back and watched the trailer, and I'm like, I saw what you're talking about, but I'm not so sure. Are we sure?
The Hyentia live a very long time.
Okay, I'm not saying it can't be her, but...
Look, maybe it's not her and we're being thrown off. I mean, I remember back in 2013, they did a very good job of saying, who is this masked man claiming himself to be Marth? But we all know it's Lucina now. But until we all played the game, we had no idea what was going on with that.
The only context I have for that mask shit is Fire Emblem Warriors, where they did that shit again. It. Yeah, well, but they made no attempt to hide it. I was like, that's not Marth at all. I don't know why anyone would think that. But anyway, no, that is. I mean, I guess other Hyentia girl gave her that mask, right? Remember, for authentication to get into the thing. So yes. I guess that looks like the same mask, but. I don't know. They could be playing games with our heart.
I mean, she did just, again, she spent the entire game rallying the army to do the right thing, improving her magical power, and now there's a rift connecting the future. So I think we're in for a good time in September. Is where I really wanted to go.
I guess that means I finally have to play Xenoblade 2 this summer.
I cannot wait for you to play Xenoblade 2. I've been holding on to that shit forever.
I just don't want to fucking buy it, man. Whatever. I guess I'll pop for it. I love that every cutscene basically ends with the Nopons Tweedledee and Tweedledum just sort of bopping along like they have no idea what's happening. They could be the human characters be talking about whatever, and they're just kind of like hee hee. It's like okay,
well, they're kids, and you kind of
understand,
and you needed that sort of levity because otherwise it is a very serious story of. No, we could not go back to the refugees. They made fun of my face that one time. We cannot go back.
No, I love an after years story in any JRPG. Really, it's always a good ploy. Honestly, even if it's like not that good, it's just always good to revisit the characters again. Maybe see them in a little different light. Even if it's like this takes place a year after Xenoblade, right? So it's not even that long. The one I kind of would like the most is Baten Kaitos. Did you ever play Baten Kaitos all the way through?
Yes.
That would be excellent to see after that, right? That's like my number one. Now, obviously, I live in reality. I know that's never going to happen. But, like, if there's any game I would love to see, like, something afterwards, that would be it. I mean, I tell you, what an ending, right? So
something else I wanted to point out because, that's the sort of thing I point out. The voice acting. I know it's been a while since they've reprised the characters, but it is good that they got the voice actors for Shulk and Melia back. I'm sure they used some of the Xenoblade stuff for Smash Brothers, but I know they cut a trailer for that then, so I know there had to be... He's been Shulk for a while in the interim to this point. With Melia, it's clear that that she was feeling her way back into where she needed to be. I felt. Did you feel that way while watching the cutscenes?
I did not, but I'm also very not critical at all of voice acting unless it's like really bad. Those kind of differences you're talking about, I would never notice.
I almost felt like she was like almost stunted in a way, but then it started sounding more like how she was before. I mean, like I said, unless it's like record bad, I'm not really going to notice. But yeah, I really enjoyed this little side story. I'm glad this happened. Obviously, like, I never really thought about it tying into other games, but I mean, it's called Future Connected for a reason, right? So, I mean, so we'll find out this fall if that's Melia, I guess. So mini bet that Kevin doesn't have on the chart. Do you think it's Melia?
I don't. I'm gonna say no. They're playing games with our heart.
All right, just to be opposite, I'll say yes.
Okay.
Even though you presented the opposite idea and there is logic behind it, I'm gonna stick to my guns and say yes, that's Melia.
Yeah.
I have a burning question that I've been holding on for like 12 or 13 minutes here. What is the context to know that one character fucks literally 10 times more than the other characters? How are you establishing the 10 times?
Because this motherfucker has like 10 kids. That's why.
You have to fuck at least one time for each one, right? So.
Yeah. So I'm saying at least 10 times, if not 30 to 50. I mean, we don't know. No pawns can fuck like rabbits for all we know. I don't know. I mean, there does appear to be a lot of them. You never know. I'm just saying.
They are very resourceful across the series. So.
There was no shortage
we cleared
of them.
that up.
Okay. But I think that's about it. Yeah, Steve, we're done with the Future Connected.
Yes, I think that covers Future Connected.
Okay. So I think that's the end of this for now. See you next time, guys. Go to Find Time Podcast on Twitter. You can follow the three of us. Go to the bio. You can find our three names under Steve and Kevin. Follow us on Twitter and Find Time Podcast if you do please. We have a Coffee account if you please. We have a Venmo tip box in our account if you please. If you ever felt so generous, you never need to do that. We just appreciate you listening. But until next time, take care. Bye.